Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is L.A. Williams, Vice President with Dealer Synergy and one of the creators of the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. And across from me, I got the other creator, the one and only Mr. Sean V. Bradley. What's happening, Sean?
Well, man, first of all, how do you know I'm right in front of you? I could be on the side of you. Marco Polo, come on, brother.
It's possible.
All right, now I'm right in front of you. All right, brother, I don't know if you could hear it in my voice. I lost my voice from screaming so much at the Super Bowl. Shout out to the Birds, man. Go Eagles. We did it. Super Bowl champions. And they beat the brakes off of the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what? I'm saying this because I've got dealers that are obviously Chief fans that were wanting to bet. And I was like, no, because my wife is superstitious, as you know. Like, she won't allow me to bet against the team because she's superstitious. But, man, I really wish that we did bet. But, yeah, the Super Bowl was amazing. Who are you rooting for, LA?
Come on, you know, I'm from North Philly, so y'all know I'm Eagles all day. Been that way since I was like 10 years old, 1991, Randall Cunningham. I actually had a Braille Randall Cunningham rookie card. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, in LA, didn't we, one of our coolest things is when our other show, Against All Odds, we got a chance to interview the late, great Bill Bergey.
And it was his birthday yesterday.
I know. They acknowledged him at the Super Bowl, man. So listen, the transition point on this is shout out to my client, Toyota. Toyota manufacturer. I was so impressed, LA, because what they have at the Super Bowl is what's called the NFL experience. It's like, it's literally where NADA was at the convention center. And they had this entire massive display for Toyota OEM where they had a huge Toyota Tacoma and it was interactive. They had like this whole little ball pit. So shout out to Toyota because they were the only manufacturer that was really repping at the Super Bowl. Out of all of that space, out of all those people that were there, the only manufacturer that really got to, maximize on the visibility was Toyota. So shout out to Toyota.
Absolutely. And then they were calling it like the RAV fourth quarter and all kind of stuff like that. It's the only time the Chiefs scored some real points. So,
Yeah, no, it was a surreal experience. I'm still like floating on this. I still can't believe that we destroyed them at that level. So anyway, shout out to all the people. I feel bad for the Chiefs, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. They already had two. It's our time to shine.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So listen, I really think it's going to be our whole three-peating thing. We're going to do this thing over and over and over again, right? And, speaking of doing something over and over and over again, I think one of the gentlemen that we're going to have come and join us today, man, he is a daggone rock star. You want to talk about energy, right? Y'all was just talking about the Super Bowl energy. This guy's got mad energy. Like as soon as we got introduced to him, I knew we were kindred spirits, right? And so, man, I'm super pumped up, fired up, super excited to bring a gentleman who is the dealer principal of EV Auto, man. So he said, man, if it's got a plug on it, we sell it. You know what I'm saying? So man, I just can't wait for everybody to get a chance to meet him. Y'all know we got to pay some bills first, so let me go ahead and get that taken care of. But when we come back, we're going to have my main man with us, Mr. Alex Lawrence. We'll be right back. Look, I was about to say Against All Odds just because we used to do the show so much. Well, it's the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast, y'all. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Podium. Here's a question. How much would your business change if you had one more employee who worked 24/7 to turn every lead, including the ones that come in after hours, into test drives, sales, and more money for your dealership? Meet Jerry, Podium's new AI BDC. Jerry is a lead conversion powerhouse designed to respond instantly to every incoming lead to answer questions accurately, keep leads warm, and schedule test drives all without direct human supervision. And the best part? With a seamless handoff to staff on the sales floor, customers will never know they were interacting with an AI to begin with. See how Podium's AI BDC can help you sell more cars by visiting podium.com/MCS. That's podium.com/MCS or click on the link in the show notes below. Introducing Dealer Synergy's brand new 55,000 square foot outsourced BDC. Over 2,000 highly skilled agents are not just making and taking calls. they're transforming customer engagement. Our agents are specially trained by Dealer Synergy, a name trusted in automotive sales training for over 20 years. With access to decades of proven methods, they're equipped with the skills and confidence to handle every customer interaction. Combining Dealer Synergy's advanced training with the cost efficiency of a Belize-based team, our BDC helps you grow your business and maximize every opportunity. The native language in Belize is English, so no customer will be affected by agitating language barriers. Through Dealer Synergy's industry-leading training, these agents are primed to deliver results that boost your dealership's bottom line. Our goal: keep your showroom full, your customers engaged, and your reputation shining. Dealer Synergy's BDC is your partner in elevating customer satisfaction and bringing in a steady stream of ready-to-buy visitors. Contact Dealer Synergy to get more information to sign up today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. It's not the Against All Odds show, but it kind of feels like it, right? Because it's real radio show stuff, man. We just still in the process of upgrading microphones and all that. So y'all know LA is super excited about that. But in the meantime, man, again, of course, listen. So let me decide whether I want to put them on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. But we got my main man, Mr. Alex Lawrence. What's going on, Al? You in the building?
Yeah. What's up, guys? LA, man. You're right about that mutual energy. We had a nice little pregame chat. It's good to be with you guys.
Yep. You know that's what my A stands for, right? As Leslie Alexander.
No, but I like you more now.
Same, brother. So, Mr. Sean B. Bradley.
I can't wait for this interview because, Alex, you are a unique dealer because of your background. I think that this conversation is going to have a whole nother depth for our audience because of the software side of things. Can you just take a couple minutes and just kind of give everybody like a little bit of your background, where you came from, how did you get into this, and what's it like in the organization that you're in right now with having the background that you have?
Yeah. So, I mean, my very first business I ever started that was real was when I was 16, I started a car detailing business. And so I was obsessed with my car. I would argue I wasted a lot of money on that thing. But it was my prized possession for a number of years. So I've always loved cars. I was never in the car business again. I spent the first 10 years of my career in franchising, and then the next 10 years of my career in tech. So I've always been an early adopter, hardware, software, early Tesla customer and fan. And so started the business with my co-founder originally as evcars.com. We were building a marketplace, an online marketplace for other people to buy and sell used EVs. And, as a lifelong entrepreneur, my experience in starting businesses, I was either the customer or I was really close to the customer. In this case, our paying customer was a car dealer, and I'd never been a car dealer. And so I never worked with them either. And so my same co-founder, coincidentally enough, had an old dealer's license from many years prior. And so we dusted that off, and I signed up for auctions and other tools so that I could learn the vocabulary, speak the language, bought a car at the auction, sold it, but was doing that to learn about how dealers worked. Wasn't doing that to start a true car dealership. Did that for about a year and a half and realized at about that time, wait a minute, maybe we should pay attention to this other opportunity, because we were selling these cars really fast and really profitably. So we turned away from EV cars. We acquired evauto.com and made a commitment at that point to build what we think looks like and feels like a franchise or a national brand, with a goal of being the largest seller and servicer of used EVs in the world. And so we really have gone pedal down for the last 3.5 years. We have 2 locations open now. We have a third location opening in the summer, and we've got more on the horizon.
That's cool, man. So you guys are right in Utah, right?
Yeah, our first 2 locations are here in Utah, and our third will be out of state.
All right, cool, man. That's exciting, man, because actually one of our executives is in Utah right now. And it's so funny you mentioned about the car situation, because the producer of our podcast, his name is Griffin. He's all about his car. He comes pick me up some mornings, man, and we just be rolling, you know what I'm saying? So he's a young guy all about his car. So I'm telling you, I think that you'll be an inspiration to him, because just look what you can do. And even just, some of the audience members, right? If you're obsessed with vehicles, even like we got a lot of young automotive professionals who want to be that millionaire car salesman. And Sean always talks about there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it in the business, right? Sometimes like where you are is not where you're going to stay if that's not what you want. You just start off in one way, and it teaches you. I like how you said you basically just did things to learn about what it was like to be in the automotive industry. Sometimes, we're not doing this stuff just to make money, right? Sometimes this work is not for money. Sometimes working is for education. So I thought that was fire, you sharing that.
I thought that was absolutely fire too. It makes sense. If you want to be a true master of the craft, you need to understand the craft. You can't just show up and expect that you're going to be able to be a successful dealer operator. A couple of questions for you. So we're clearing this up for our audience. This is an independent dealership, correct? So the inventory that you're getting, what type of EVs do you stock? All of them, all brands, all manufacturers?
Yeah, I mean, we've carried every EV you can think of, pretty much. I think every available EV,
even Teslas.
Teslas are the vast majority of my inventory, but that's a function of demand. I mean, for a number of years, if people said they wanted an EV, they were really saying they wanted a Tesla. And so that's changing, has changed and is changing more and more. And so, right now I've got probably 5 brands of EVs that I have in my inventory, but it's still, I mean, it's 85% Tesla right now.
Which is the most popular brands that, for you, your prospects and your customers? What do they want? What is the market demanding?
Yeah, I mean, so Tesla Model 3s and Model Ys are kind of the bread and butter. Rivians are really popular here in Utah. Ford Lightnings are popular. Certain specs and trims are popular here in Utah. Certain plug-in hybrids, Toyotas and some Hondas are popular here. Some minivans and stuff. So we're still experimenting. Our lot, this location can hold about 50 cars. Our other location can hold about 70 cars. So, we can't have everything of everything, but we try to have the cars that are in demand, and we're brand agnostic for sure. I mean, we'll carry whatever it is that people want, but the vast majority of our business has been and is, Tesla centric.
Yeah, Rivian is the one that I heard of, so I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, they're great. Rivian car, they're really well made. They're very luxurious and really good cars.
Well, question for you, because I'm so excited to have you on here because I have so many questions about this EV stuff. Because a lot of our franchise dealers, especially Buick, I know a lot of DPs that basically said, take this freaking franchise back because General Motors, the overhaul to their facilities that they had to do to be equipped to be able to handle all the service or what have you, it was just too much of an investment and they didn't feel like an ROI. What did you have to do to be able to outfit your facility in the service side to support that? Was that difficult? Was that crazy? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's different for me because I built my locations from the ground up. They're new builds. And so I was able to design them how I wanted and construct them how I wanted. Our first location, we only offer mobile service. So I've got a Cybertruck and trailer, and we do mobile service. My second location has 5 service bays and, lifts and things like that. And
wait. Did you say you have a Cybertruck that does your mobile service? That is so awesome. Talk to brother. Yeah. Boom. Yo, yeah, I need some sound effects in post in this, Griff. This is awesome. Yeah. So repeat that again.
Yeah, I actually have multiple Cybertrucks that tow a trailer that are, candy apple green, purple. The trailer and everything matches, and the trailer's got $60,000, $70,000 worth of equipment inside to do and we do tires, we do brakes, we do all the EV stuff, and we come to your house or your office and do it. And we're actually just rolling out our first truck and trailer in Denver, Colorado. It's going to be rolling out any day. So we've got locations that do that here in Utah, and then Colorado. We're going to do those in places where we don't necessarily have dealerships. So yeah, it's an eye catcher to see a big giant candy apple metallic green Cybertruck and matching trailer rolling down the road. We actually own evservice.com. We bought that domain. And so, we're rolling out some cool things where you can schedule via an app and just some stuff there. So yeah, that's a separate business, but it's connected to our dealerships.
No, I love it. I love it, man. It's so crazy because I know folks that, okay, you the blind guy, but I knew my colors by the time I was 1. So I can definitely imagine.
That's right.
Some of those colors and things like that. And, so it was crazy because I was trying to get the other scoop. I was asking him, I was like, where's the other dealer? He wouldn't tell us, right? But he did say, we get that scoop, Sean. We got that, in Denver, Colorado, it's going down. Look out for candy apple red. Or what's the other colors?
So the one there is going to be candy apple metallic green. Mac and cheese.
Ooh, metallic green apples. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
I call my
Crispy.
Cybertrucks a bag of Jolly Ranchers. That's the color palette. We got every crazy
That's
colors.
Alex,
cute.
so Alex, man, spinning off questions
Yeah.
on this thing. Now, you know what's kind of crazy is that not every franchise dealer has a mobile service department. So that's a whole nother thing in itself, like you said. How has that enhanced your business having the ability, forget about it being an awesome Cybertruck, right? Candy apple green, but just the fact that you have a mobile ability to go to the house. Talk us through that. How valuable is that for convenience and stuff for your customers?
Yeah, I mean, so if you buy a car from us, you get 10% off all mobile service for life and preferential scheduling. And so we're the only dealer that offers anything like that. I mean, we'll come to your house, we'll be able to be there in, typically a few days, and you're going to get a 10% discount, which, is pretty meaningful depending on the price of the service. And so, the fact that we only sell and service these cars, one of our 6 core values is we are the experts. And so nobody knows more about these cars than we do. Our techs are certified up and down, left and right to work on them. We've got all the right software, all the right tools. And it's the only thing we do. We don't do anything else. And so we're good at it. This is probably of note. I'm really proud of it. We're the highest rated dealership on Google in the state of Utah, new or used. We've got about
Wow.
400 and something reviews and a perfect 5.0.
Wow.
We only have 2 negative reviews, and they're both fake. They're both from either a competitor or a hater. They're not real. And so we're trying to get those
What
removed.
about those?
So the service experience that we provide is really white glove, Nordstrom-like, super fast, convenient, fair, friendly, high tech, low touch. And so it's something we're really excited about. We're going to roll it out nationally where we don't have dealerships. So
This is so exciting because I say this all the time about being innovative. Instead of being Blockbuster, be Netflix. Instead of being Yellow Cabs, be Uber. For you, this is
it's
a
going to be an Uber, be
differentiator.
Robotaxi.
Yes. Yeah.
Real quick, gentlemen. Speaking of fast and convenience, and just all just innovative, man. I kind of want to really talk about Podium because, man, they are so. Whenever you use Jerry, right, their AI, they have this AI that whenever it's communicating with customers, it's so fast. It responds to customers in like 15 seconds, right? So you want to talk about fast? But it is literally the fastest out of all of the AIs that I've ever heard of, right? EVs are extremely fast, right? And so it's the same deal when it comes to using AI and communicating with customers. I love how Alex is talking about his value package proposition. He's talking about how he's different and better, right? And see, understand if you have Podium, it makes you different and better. It puts you in position where you can respond to customers at any given time of the day, right? Whether it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. So that's one of the things that I love about it. And so if you want to make sure that you're responding to your customers because you got your team and, sometimes they're busy, right? They don't get a chance to respond or they might be sleeping, right? You want to make sure you go to podium.com/MCS so that you can get all this information. You can find out a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So
Yeah,
just want to jump in.
so we call Jerry Glow. We renamed is our AI at EV Auto. And I've been a paying customer of Podium's for a couple of years now. Love the product. We use it for a lot of things besides AI. Just a quick shout out to them. Like I said, I'm a paying customer.
And he's one of 6,000, y'all. So it's not like, like he's just the only one, right?
Yeah, it's a great tool. I mean, for payments and Google reviews, and it runs our phone system, and it obviously handles our texting and our AI responses. And so, big fan of Podium.
Specifically, though, can you share how you're using the AI, whether it's lead management or like how would you say that the AI, because artificial intelligence is the buzzword in the industry. NADA was just recently happened in New Orleans, and that was the predominant and preeminent subject is artificial intelligence. And again, when you think of EVs, you think of Teslas and all these type of vehicles, these are the most advanced vehicles on the planet right now. The technology is straight cutting edge. So I'm assuming if you have a fully enclosed EV dealership, meaning that all you sell is EVs, you're selling the most advanced technology automotive products, and now you're using the most advanced artificial intelligence software from Podium. How do you get the maximum value out of it? What are you doing to leverage Podium?
The AI texting tool, we have it set so that if we're not able to respond to incoming texts, it has a time limit that it starts to do it, and then after hours, it does all of the texting because we're trying to have some time off. And so we've trained it so that it really understands our business. It's connected to our inventory, so it's able to speak confidently about our inventory, answer questions about things like the used EV tax credit. And so it's gotten really good at replicating the voice of our team when texting. So
How long? I've heard that too. Like AI is like a person. You've got to train it. How long did it take you to train Glow? Your
yeah.
AI. How long did it take?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we were a very early user, and so we used the product in a kind of a beta format. So that's not a great answer because the product has been launched and has a lot. But for us, it was about 2 months, and they've got a really elegant way to train it. You just Glow will respond to something, and you can hit thumbs up, thumbs down. And if you hit thumbs down, a little box pops up, and you can type in exactly what it didn't get right and hit submit. And their engineering team gets it and quickly will retrain your specific instance of that tool, and so it gets smart really quick, and it's easy to give feedback. You just have to kind of pay attention to what it's saying because it'll say some crazy things, it'll do some crazy things, and you just have to say, no, that's not the right answer. Like for me, for a while, it was telling out-of-state people they had to bring their trade in, and they're like, well, I live 1,000 miles away, I'm not going to bring it in. But it was an easy fix. We just had to thumbs down. Hey, if they're out of state, just ask, and if it is, you say, hey, pictures, video, that kind of stuff is how you let us double check the condition of the trade.
That's awesome. You just said something about the tax credit as an example. How is the new administration with Trump taking office? How's that going to affect? Because I know that he's trying to unwind a lot of things from the Biden administration, and which includes the whole EV stuff. So how do you feel that that's going to affect your business or dealers in general that trying to sell EVs?
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting question depending on if you're talking about new or used. When it comes to used, which is my world, it's gonna have a negative impact on my business. Meaning, that $4,000 point of sale tax credit is going to go away. The reason it's going to hurt is not so much because people don't have the $4,000. That's really big, but it's helped a lot of people qualify for loans that didn't have any money down because that 4,000
Mm.
counts as that down payment. So there's a lot of dealers out there selling used EVs that if they couldn't get somebody qualified on a gas car, they'd try and shift them over to an EV because they knew they had that $4,000 for them. And so it's funny how the sentiment from dealers changed once that became available because they realized they could get customers that weren't qualified to buy a gas car to buy the one Tesla they had in the corner lot because that $4,000. So they suddenly kind of changed their view of it. To be clear, I'm fine with the tax credit going away. I have some concerns about him and some of the things he does, but overall, net, it's positive. But having said that, Elon also has said that he's for the tax credits going away. But what people don't catch is what he says right after that, which is the same thing I'll say. Hey, then you got to get rid of a lot of the ICE gas car subsidies that have been around for decades. And so all we're saying, I'm not a fan of government intervention. I think them getting rid of the EV mandates, which they did on day one, which was totally made sense. You shouldn't make or force, dealers to produce cars that you say they have to or can't. So I was for that, but I think you got to be fair and say, hey, okay, if you're going to get rid of the used EV tax credit or the new EV tax credit, let's take a look at some of the credits that the gas and ICE car industry gets to help their business, and let's get rid of those too. And so I don't think it's fair to pick and choose, but the impact on new is totally different. You've got all these manufacturers that, right or wrong, were required by the Biden administration and their manufacturers to invest all this money in infrastructure, manufacturing plants, battery technology, dealerships, like you were talking about, infrastructure. And now they're going to go, whoop, the $7,500 is gone. Good luck selling all those cars. I think you've got a lot of car dealers in this weird spot where they're like, wait a minute, we had to do all this stuff and it sucked, but we still had to do it. We hired all these people. And so I think the right solution, but I'm not naive that this will happen, is you take a little from both camps and you wean both of them off of it. So it's like, let's get rid of the EV tax credit and some of the gas subsidies over a year and give both sides of the issue time to ramp down or make changes. But what I think is actually going to happen, Sean, is they're just going to go and pull. And I mean, it could happen today. Trump could be at his office going, "Hey, we're done with this," and I don't know.
But here, what about the Elon Musk variable? Because obviously he's very, very tight with Trump. He's the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, but he's also the founder of Tesla. So he's got skin in the game. And again, I'm sure he wants to try to be, very transparent, but he's got to have a vested interest in having EVs being successful. So I can't believe that, and I'm not that naive that doesn't play into this. Somehow there's got to be a win-win.
Yeah, what he said is, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Hey, I think getting rid of the EV tax credit is a good thing, because he also doesn't like government intervention into stuff, generally speaking. But he then follows it up by saying, but you got to be equal treatment. You can't just get rid of one and get rid of the other. The other thing that's interesting, a lot of people give Tesla grief because they got billions of dollars from the federal government years ago to save the business, essentially. But almost every single manufacturer has, over the course of their lifetime, has received significant help from the government to save their business. So again, it's hypocritical to give Tesla and EVs crap for stuff that the gas car industry has done or is doing too. And so, but the other side of it is, if you get rid of the new tax credit, which is only what affects Tesla, it does hurt Tesla, but it hurts their competitors more. And so Elon can have his cake and eat it too by saying, "Oh man, get rid of both if you're going to do it, but maybe don't. But I support it if you do." And I think he might have even said this because people ask him, "Hey, how can you?" It's conflict of interest. You've got shareholders. You're a publicly traded company. You've got a fiduciary responsibility. And he said, I believe, well, going to hurt Ford. More is going to hurt Tesla. So yeah, it'll suck, but it won't suck as bad for us as everybody else. So
that's a very good point. I want to redirect on this because I've been in the business for 27 years, brother. I've been doing this at a very high level for almost 3 decades.
Teach me, bro.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I got you. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with you. This is what I do for a living, is like, I am around everybody, you know what I mean? And I could just tell just from this conversation, you have definitely supreme subject matter expertise in this. And my mind's already spinning with a bunch of questions I'm going to ask. But here's my thing, though. It's just my opinion. I don't believe EVs have even come close to maximum potential. And I think that's because of various different things. I'm going to give you an analogy. It blows my mind in the United States that there's certain areas of the country that don't lease. Like down south, they have an aversion. The majority of dealerships don't lease, and it's BS. They're like, oh, people don't want to lease. And I don't believe that at all. I believe it's because they don't know how to explain the value of a lease. They don't know how to present the lease the right way, and et cetera. I think, and I want your opinion, here's a question, is I believe that there's still a massive disconnect of information, education, infrastructure for franchise dealers to really be able to understand EVs and be able to sell the value of it. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. And it's a little bit of an it depends answer. So there are some areas of the country, the South, where the charging infrastructure, especially in rural areas, isn't good. And the use case for the vehicles isn't a match for like some of the battery, like towing and things like that, and the impact it has on batteries and distance and stuff. So I say this all the time, EVs are not for everybody. And that's okay. There's also a cultural,
but neither is a minivan and neither is a pickup truck. You know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying? Or neither is a
That's right.
convertible. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
But there's some things that make it harder to own an EV in some areas of the country than others. Now, over time, I believe that will change through a variety of things. Batteries will get more efficient. Charging networks will get become more available, so forth and so on. Prices will go down, and that's what when I talk to dealers, I'm like, you really don't think all those things are going to happen? It's technology. It's there. It's going to continue to get better and cheaper and better and cheaper. It's no different than your phone or any other tech tool. The original flat screen TVs. It's going to keep getting better and cheaper. And so anyway, the some of the geographic things play against it, but there's also a cultural thing. I mean, if you've got a dealership that's in some of these regions that's been selling gas cars for 40 years, second generation, salespeople that have been there for a number of years, and they're doing well, and things are going good or pretty good or whatever, and you say, guess what? You got to like this new kind of car that maybe politically you don't agree with, that you personally don't love because it doesn't make noises and rev and also has some limitations. It doesn't go as far on a tank or on a charge or whatever. And in some cases, it's expensive. It's a hard sell to get a salesperson to like buy in. And so you've got to have, I think, before you've got to have a dealer that believes, you got to have some salespeople that believe, because where they're struggling is you've got dealers that are being forced it from the manufacturer. And then even if the dealer kind of likes it or not, they're forcing it down to the salespeople. And the salespeople you've got to have an advocate in your location. And stereotypically, that's a younger person that, likes technology, stuff like that. And then you've got to equip them with the resources so it doesn't feel like punishment, where it's like, oh yeah, you're the EV guy. Well, great. We sell one EV a week. Thanks for relegating me to the crappy cars. I want to sell F-150s. We're selling 100 of those a week. And so it requires an investment and a commitment and infrastructure in the right area to do it well. And that's a lot of change. And from my observation of the last 5.5 years in the car business, change is not something that we do extremely well. And so you're asking a lot, and it doesn't mean it can't be done, and that there will be dealers that do it well. But I think you give it 5 years, Sean, it's a pretty rude awakening for some of these folks that they've realized it's not going to put them out of business. EVs are not going to I disagree that they're going to take over as the majority of cars on the road. I don't believe that, but they're going to be a meaningful portion of the market that these folks are going to miss out on. And then they're going to be playing catch up. Like, oh crap, there's some really good cars that came out that are really affordable, that have a really long battery. And we've got 10 superchargers in our market that we didn't have 2 years ago. Shoot, that's actually a pretty good option for people now. I gotta hurry and backpedal all the trash talking and all the anti-EV rhetoric and all that stuff and go, shoot, I'm leaving millions of dollars on the table here.
No, that's exactly what I wanted you to say. I would agree with everything you just said. So if you could do me a favor, can you speak to our audience? I have a lot of dealer principals and GMs that are listening, and it's funny. This in 20 groups. I've spoken to over 500 plus NAD and NCM 20 groups, and this was a big subject for a long time. And now it's now evolving because of the new Trump administration. But my thing is this: can you please speak to the dealer principals and general managers of both franchise and independent dealerships and tell them how they could start to maximize this? So if they're one of the dealers, whether they are like like big naysayers and haters on this, or they're just, indifferent, or they're excited about it, they just don't know where to begin. So the question is this: if a dealer principal or GM is listening to this and they're inspired by your success and your subject matter passion, how can they start to engage or embrace the EV market? What are the first steps if they're not doing well right now?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple of precursors to that. And I've had a lot of conversations with dealers around the country. A lot of them are mentoring me and have befriended me and stuff like that. And I'll say this: I think you first need to evaluate your particular market and answer some of the questions honestly. Do we have some of the resources? Is there enough demand? Some things that give you a chance to succeed at some level. Because in some markets, the answer is going to be not yet, right? If you have an open mind, though, there's probably some opportunity just about everywhere. You just have to understand what it is. And then after that, I think you need to either decide to be in or out. And if you're out, that's okay. It doesn't mean you'll be out a year from now, but you need to make that decision that you're in or you're out. And so maybe that first kind of analysis is net negative in your view. So you're still going to stand on the sidelines and watch, and you're out, right? You'll sell what you have to.
Yeah.
You'll get rid of trades at auction or wholesale or whatever. And that's fine. That's fine. If you are leaning towards, hey, there might be an opportunity or whatever, then be in. And to be in, you've got to find that advocate internally or go hire them, and then make sure that they can succeed. They might need a salary. They might need extra commissions. You can't, like I said, it can't feel like a punishment, because you're going into a new market. You've got to invest, but you've got to find somebody that really likes them and really believes in them. And you've got to get the team to embrace them. Hey, I'm a gas car guy. I'm a diesel truck guy, right? In my worst accent. Great. But we have John over here that handles and be friends with John, because he's going to handle all the stuff you don't want to. So don't talk crap about EVs. Don't talk crap. Just let John handle it. and work with John and let John be the advocate. And then make sure John, like I said, has a setup to succeed. And that includes things like we install your charger for you at home. And here's one on the wall. You can see what it looks like. Here's how much it costs. And we send an electrician to your house within a couple of days, and we can wrap that into the financing. So you take the charging anxiety out of it. And this expert will know how they work. What does the software do? What does the hardware do? How, they have questions. They're an expert. They can answer them, because a lot of these dealerships, they fumble around with the answers. One, because they only have a couple in inventory. They don't sell a lot of them. So they're not incentivized to become an expert. But John, who's your advocate, who's been set up to succeed, knows everything about them, right? And then be willing to get a little bit of inventory. Don't overreach, but don't only take the trades that you have to take in. Like, go buy a couple. Go buy a couple. Now, if you're a new car manufacturer, you're going to get forced a couple. And I don't know the new car manufacturer world well enough, but if there's any chance at all that you get to choose a spec or something, then have John, your advocate, help you figure out, hey, I know we got to take whatever, these Volvos or Subarus or Ford, whatever, Lightnings or whatever in your market that don't sell particularly well. And maybe, John, this is my naivete, maybe they don't get to choose. But if you do, have some say on, well, we want this spec and we want that spec because it's got a better chance of selling. And so those are some things I think that would help them either decide if they're in or if they're out. But they're in, they have to make a commitment there of some sort.
No, I like that. I would agree. I think you have to be in or out. I would agree. And then what I do like what you just said is delegate somebody. And if you have a bigger operation, maybe plural, somebody's plural, that this is their forte. Because it's like you have a special finance team or special finance manager, or you've got a truck specialist, you got a fleet specialist, you got an internet department, etc. You have an EV department. I like that. My next question, though, is how do you get your community? How do you get them saturated? Is it like what type of, and I say propaganda in a very good, loving, respectful way. I don't think propaganda is negative. It can be, you know what I mean? But also positive propaganda, AKA PR, public relations. Are you doing anything in your organization to be able to evangelize the value of owning an EV and educating people on EVs? I mean, think about it. Like Apple, for example, they have the Genius Bar where you don't have to buy something. They'll teach you classes on different software or different tools, because an educated consumer, it makes it easier for them to want to buy stuff. So are you doing anything to educate your local community? Do you have your salespeople in EV demos to infiltrate the community? Before you answer that, we got to pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Shane Bourne with Promax. When we're faced with any challenge, we work together to find the best solution. That attitude and commitment to excellence has helped us pioneer several innovative solutions into the automotive space, like our award-winning CRM and desking tool, which this year we are showcasing with AI-enhanced call tracking analytics. Also our Blackhawk digital marketing solutions. We pioneered soft pull into the automotive space, and we allow consumers to gain valuable insights early in the buying process, like their credit score, their trade value, and equity, all of which help a streamlined, frictionless buying process, which is important to both the consumer and the dealership. We look forward to showing you just how important it is to us to be more than a vendor, but to be a partner with you, mutually striving to accomplish your goals.
For more information, contact MCC directly and let them know you heard about them on the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast.
This has been the most in-depth training I've had in my lot of years in the car business.
We went from 60 cars to 156 cars a month in 3 months.
NAMAD, the entire Toyota Chicago region, as well as the top automotive groups like Koons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their teams.
They're the most comprehensive training company I've seen, and they by far have the best support system.
Doing 50 cars a month, topped out at 80. I can tell you that the Bradley On Demand training will get you to the next level.
And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. If you're still not enrolled in Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on the best virtual automotive training in the world. Enroll now or contact us for a free test drive of the platform today.
All right, we're back. Alex, Tell me what's up.
Okay, so 2 parts to that question. The first is not so sexy and easy to understand, but difficult to do, and that's our organic reputation. We are different here. You work with one person from open to close of the sale. Everything's digital. We'll give you pricing over the phone. We'll text you pricing. We don't have any extra fees or add-ons, and so we just have a great reputation. And so people refer people to us. They know they can come in with questions, and we're not going to pressure them to buy a car because a lot of people have questions. It's their first one. And so we've worked really hard. It's our North Star. It's our number one priority to make sure that people know they can come in here, they can ask questions, and they can leave. And we're not going to pester them, hammer them, push them. And so we've really worked hard to build a reputation as a place you can go to talk to people who know what they're talking about and get your questions answered. The second thing, and like I said, that sounds kind of cheesy and cliche, but it works. And when people come in every day that have heard about us, that know that we know the answers. And so that's the one. The other is organic social media. So in the last week, our socials had about 15 million organic views. We don't do any paid. We've got just over 100,000 organic followers that are highly engaged, high view count, high comment count, high like count, high DM count. And so we've got a really strong following that's growing consistently and nicely on TikTok and LinkedIn and a little bit on Instagram, and Facebook has really started to ramp up. YouTube's starting to ramp up a little bit. And so we post twice a day on all of those platforms. And it's just a day in the life of a car dealer. We just show what's going on here. I've got a full-time camera person that follows around, the good, the bad, the ugly. And so as a natural part of that, we talk about EVs all the time. And I can't tell you hundreds, maybe thousands of comments. Hey, I wasn't really that into EVs, and so I started watching you, and now I'm interested. Or, I'm not ready to buy an EV right now, but when I am, I'm coming to you. And then, last week we had our busiest social. We sold 5 cars in a day from TikTok leads, and that was our busiest social day. And they were all people. 4 of them were out of state, and so they watch us. They feel comfortable. They go read our reviews. They know we're expert. They know our prices are fair. And so that, and then the third thing, I've got an army of cars in this market, ours that we own, and customers that I've done it for free that are wrapped, that have giant EV Auto on them. So I've wrapped about 8 or 9 customer cars for free, as long as it says EV Auto on it. Then I've got 2 Cybertrucks, a Hummer EV, a Model Y, a Model S that are cruising around all over, that have these crazy wraps. One of them has Elon's face on the side. The other is a Tiffany blue Hummer EV with blue wheels. And so between driving around and seeing cars and us popping up in your organic For You page or your suggested reels or whatever, I mean, we're trying to show up everywhere as, the EV place to go.
Man, Alex, let me just tell you, I'm the best-selling author of a book called Win the Game of Googleopoly. So I'm an international best-selling author. I specialize in video search engine optimization. Yeah, for sure. If you take a look, that's it on the wall right there.
I'm downloading a copy right after this. Count me as a reader.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And one of the things I want to tell you, one of my clients and partners is a gentleman named Cody Carter. Have you heard of Cody Carter?
I have. In fact,
he's the number one car salesman in the United States. In 2023, he sold 1,408 units in
Is that
one
the guy
year.
that 100% referral? He just waits and people just come in, basically.
Yeah. So, but it's not just 100% referrals. What had happened is this: he's got his own website. It's he spent about like $15,000 on his own to build a website. It was Retrack Autos, which was his last. It's Carter spelled backwards, but Toyota OEM came in, and now I think it's cody.tustintoyota.com or whatever. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
And this guy is one of the most advanced people I've ever met. He makes $1.2 million selling Toyotas on the showroom floor with one assistant in Orange County, California. And you know what? There's a lot of EVs he's selling. But listen to this.
California is a killer market for him.
Part of his success is 2 things I want to give you. For all the knowledge you're giving our audience, I'm going to drop some stuff this way.
I'm going to
start writing this shit down. This is good.
Yeah, I'm going to watch this. I was just like, I'm going to write it down. I got my thing right here.
Great. This is I love this. So listen. So first of all, he's in every group that's there. There's the Toyota Tundra group. There's a Toyota Tacoma group. There's the Toyota, Grand Highlander group, the Toyota Highlander group, the Toyota
Are you talking about
Camry
Facebook
group.
groups?
Yes.
Yeah.
These are all Facebook, but some of them have anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 members that are in there. And guess what he's in? The Toyota EV group. What I'm going to say to you, if I were you and had your business, I would create an EV group, on Facebook, and I would grow that community. And in that community, it could be everything that's EVs. It could be tips. It could be advice. It could be, Jesus, all the vehicles that you get in, you could be taking videos and do walkarounds, answer questions. Because to your point, he is the leasing expert. He's the Toyota expert. I watched within 1 hour of him posting a freaking details of VDP in the Toyota Grand Highlander group. Not only did he spot a car, he took 2 other deposits because this is the community. Yes, and that's why I thought it would be great to share that with you.
Yeah,
But you want to create that community. You want to create a podcast about EVs. You want to use multiple media channels to be able to evangelize your message. And you've got something sexy. These are beautiful vehicles. These are different. It's not just a regular basic old car. So if you create an audience, that's what I try to tell everybody. I got signed to Wiley Publishing, which is a multi-billion-dollar publishing house, not because I could conjugate verbs and I'm the best, writer. It's not the New York Times best written author. It's the New York Times best selling author. They don't care about this. They gave me a book deal because I got an audience, man. Yep. And the audience is going to buy my shit because exactly. Yep. My wife was a recording artist. 75 million views, 11 major music videos. She's pretty and she's talented, but there's a lot of pretty talented, people out there. They gave her a deal because why? Because she could sell merchandise and records and people go to her concerts and stuff like that. Yep. So for you, if you build that audience, if you build it on YouTube, if you build it in these groups, though, you're building a community. See, what you're doing right now, it's public in TikTok and all that, and that's great. Yeah. But for example, my Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook, I've got 30,000 dealers, GMs, and now I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm a car guy. So, but for 30,000 dealers and GMs, I have a built-in audience. Yep. I've got this podcast. We got about 1.5 million downloads for a car guy podcast. Is not bad at all. No. It was so big, Alex, that iHeartRadio, the head of Automotive and now the VP of the entire iHeart, all vertical channels, his name is John Carpinci. He gave me a syndicated radio deal in 5 major markets: Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia, Cleveland, Ohio, and Rochester, New York. And for 1 year before I got signed to before I got my TV show, I'm signed to Vice TV. Before I had my TV show, for 1 year, I had about 1.1 million Americans tuning into my broadcast radio show. Why? Because I had an audience. So with what you have and everything I've learned about you, I would create these communities that is going to feed everything that you do. And to your point, exactly what you just said before, that all these people are watching, and you got to remember, people are not buying. Most people spend more time researching, surfing, and engaging content than they are actual purchasing. And the problem is a lot of businesses, they only focus on point of sale media, or point of sale collateral. Yep. But if you create point of interest material, like for example, one of my people that I helped, I'll tell you his name offline. I'm not trying to plug him anymore. He created this massive YouTube channel that has over 500,000 subscribers and has hundreds and hundreds of millions of minutes aired a month. On his YouTube channel. Like his videos have got like 5, 6, 9 million views. You know what those are? He reversed engineer. This is chapter 5 of my book. So when you download it, it gives a reverse engineering. It's all like the 9 scams to avoid at a car dealership. Should I really, it's all those things that people are Googling and searching for, and you capture people at the point of interest. And then they develop a respect for you, a trust for you as that subject matter person. And when they are ready to buy, who are they going to go to? Joe Schmo? Or are they going to go to the EV guy?
That's exactly what we're trying to do, and authentically do it. Hey, go look us up, go Google our business, and you can see that we back it up.
Okay, so now I want to digress and go into what you had mentioned before about. Remember we were talking about the tax credits and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Again, one of the companies I want to mention is NCC, the National Credit Center, and it's their partner Promax, and it's amazing the type of technology that's there. Is there any particular banks that you are fond of, for EVs? Because I know our audience is always looking for different types of banks, whether it's prime, subprime, deep subprime. Is there any banks that are I don't know that work well with the EV product?
We've honestly, I don't think there's any that we work with that either reward or penalize EVs. It's a function of all the typical things: credit score, debt to income, down payment, loan to value, all that kind of stuff. And if those things are in line, we've got a lender, or out of, not in line for whatever their credit score is and their situation is. There's some banks I'd like to get with that like Santander won't do independence anymore, but they've got some products for credit scores that I'd love to submit to them. And so, but no, we've all the usual suspects are been very EV friendly as long as the traditional car dealer, car loan terms are in check. We get them funded. It's been easy. That where it gets a little challenging, like I said, is the subprime, the down payment issues, the debt to income issues, maybe self-employment or bankruptcy and things like that. We have to get more creative, but that's not related to the EV as much. I will say one caveat. EVs were the fastest depreciating cars in history not too long ago because Elon did some big price drops and that just cascaded through the market. Those are done. They just depreciate now like a normal car. But for a while there, those loan to values were and still are. There's a lot of negative equity coming around from people that bought cars at top dollar. And so there are some issues there that are difficult, but they're not EVs. They are EV centric, and that the EVs were the ones that depreciated. But it's really just a numbers thing. It's like crap. Your loan, how much you owe and how much it's worth, are big gap there. And I've seen Dodge trucks where the gap is massive too when they come to trade in, but there's a subsection of EVs there for about a year and a half, where if you bought one, you paid absolute top dollar and your negative equity is a big number. So that's an issue. I'm not aware of a bank in particular that excels at handling that. But it is something I should mention that is a challenge. But like I said, it's now you're buying one, you're the beneficiary of that depreciation. And when you own the car, it's just going to depreciate like a normal car at this point.
No, I appreciate that feedback. You mentioned earlier, it might have been the pre-kickoff before we did the interview.
Yeah.
One of the things that you respected is companies that have like bundle, where you could do everything or a lot of stuff in one vendor, so you don't have vendor exhaustion and going all over the place. You should really look at NCC, which is the National Credit Center. One of the things I think is amazing about them, they've got over 30 years of experience. They're an all-in-one solution, obviously focused on credit-driven retailing, soft pull, data mining, call tracking, desking, etc. They were built like, you heard of Promax? So Promax got acquired by NCC. So you have the National Credit Center partnered with Promax. So
give me an intro, dude. Intro me to somebody, would you?
Done. Listen, I got you. Like I know all the CEO and everybody down from that company. They're really good, and they're based in Iowa. Cool. They're great people. I've known them for my entire career, over 20 plus years.
I love an intro. I appreciate that. Which is an interesting discussion. I tell people all the time, Tesla has $1 trillion lead on its competitors when it comes to self-driving. Trillion, in my opinion. Like the smartest thing they could ever do within reason would be to cut a deal with Tesla to license the self-driving test software for their cars, because it's almost laughably bad. For example, Porsche's self-driving currently is compared to Tesla's. It's like kindergarten versus PhD. It's just not even remotely close. And for some people, they don't care. Doesn't matter. That's not. But once you've driven in a true current latest version FSD car, it's kind of hard to accept driving a self-driving car in a bunch of other vehicles that can't do even close to the same things that an FSD Tesla car can.
I could keep this going. I'm definitely going to have to connect with you outside of this and keep this going, because there's a lot of things I could just give you for free advice and direction that I think could help you.
I'm all in on that, brother. I'd take it.
So my last question is: you've successfully navigated the worlds of nimble startups and larger teams. How do you cultivate a culture of innovation, agility at your dealership at EV Auto, especially when integrating cutting edge technologies like AI into your day to day operations? I know you mentioned it a little bit before, but I want to get through this again because there's so much information in this podcast episode with you. I got the part of this, but how do you put it all together? You know what I mean? At your store, from the culture to the advanced technology, how do you make it all work synergistically?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is cliche or soundbite kind of stuff, but man, I can't say it sincerely enough, or I don't know what I'm looking for. It's the truth and who we are. In 5.5 years, I've had zero turnover, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
probably that's the stat I think that I'm most proud of. And so
Alex,
the
let me
culture,
interject. Stop, time out. Do you understand that alone just tells me
yeah,
a ton? The average for the franchise dealers, out of the 18,100 franchise dealers, the attrition ratio is 70 to 80%.
yep,
70 to 80%. And the fact you've had zero turnover in 5.5 years, holy smokes.
yeah.
I'm impressed. Sorry to
Thank
interrupt.
you. No, no, it's okay. I've heard that reaction a lot, and it's a reflection of the DNA here, and it's not just words. And so, I mean, I turned 50 years old this year. I've been around startups and company building. I've made lots of mistakes. I've done it wrong a bunch of times. This will be the last startup I ever do. Not to be too dramatic or macabre, but this is it. And so, my most important thing that I focus on and do ahead of everything else that we've talked about is figuring out with the team who helped me decide these together back in the day what our core values are, and making sure that we hire people that are these people, that we don't have to train them, that we don't have to coach them. And we build a culture now. There's 22 of us, I think 24 of us, that every one of them meets every person that we're going to hire, and I will continue that until the organization is just too large. And even then, you're going to meet, if you work in a dealership, every single person is going to meet somebody that comes into that dealership. You might not be able to come into I'll have 20 dealerships meet one lot tech in a random state. That's not going to happen. But every single person in that dealership is going to meet and interview that lot tech or whatever, and come up with their own personal opinion of if that person fits our core values. And I say, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And so it's one or the other, and it's obvious to you. We don't do warm bodies. We have a need. I've done that before, and it works sometimes, but more often than not, it doesn't work. And so, we have 6 core values that everybody in our team truly exudes. It's who they are. And these aren't in
Tell
order.
us, I've been dying to ask you I know one of them. What are all 6 of the core values?
Yeah. So, and these aren't in order, but honesty and integrity in all we do. We ask ourselves all the time. I mean, our reviews are so high, man, because I take cars back and pay for things for customers that 99% of other dealers won't do. And on social media, I get reamed that, man, you're too nice, you're too easy, and I get taken advantage of once in a while. And they don't always see things. I'm tough on some things, but we do things that I know most dealers won't do because we're playing the long game, and because this is the biggest challenge for your listeners, I think, personally. The vast majority of them haven't been the customer in a very long time. Or in some cases with family dealerships, they haven't ever been the customer. And I've been the customer my whole life. And if we're just being honest in the industry, attorneys and used car salesmen are the most hated professions on earth. And so there's a reason for that. There's a lot of bad attorneys and there's a lot of bad car dealers. And I've been on that side of it as a customer where I've had terrible experiences almost my whole life. There's been a few, but the vast majority have been lack of transparency, dishonesty, bait and switch, takes 6 hours to buy a car, all these things that are still rampant in the industry. And so when we ask that question, I mean, I'll give you an example. There's a car dealer I know, they're everything they say says honesty and integrity, their version of that. That's all their stuff, right? Every single one of their listings is $3,000 underpriced, because in the fine print it says, if you have a qualifying trade-in under 100,000 miles, if not, the price is $3,000 more. How is that honesty and integrity? You're burying that. Your customers going, wow, their prices are cheaper than everybody else. You get there, you don't have a trade, guess what? $3,000 added to it. So I've got strong opinions on that. So for us, that's a big one. The other is in line with that, and that's customers first. So we do weird stuff for customers. I remember a customer bought a car from us. They drove 6 hours south. They had a charging issue. Myself and another guy got in another car. We drove 6 hours at 10:30 at night. We switched them cars. We got that car towed back. No questions asked. My sales guy and I didn't even have to think about it because customers first. No problem. The third we talked about, we are the experts. Everybody here loves EVs. To your question earlier, they drive them every day. They drive them over the weekend. I let everybody take the Cybertruck home, the Taycan. They get to drive everything. Everybody in the organization gets to drive them and understands them. And we're always learning. Our technical people are teaching us how battery health works and battery science and all that stuff so that nobody knows more about them than us. Our fourth, a special place to be for customers and employees. You haven't even seen my place yet, dude. Garage doors all the way around, graffiti wall, brick wall, music pumping, funky furniture, license plates on that wall, 9 85-inch televisions on that wall into one image, a giant TV wall, a fridge and drinks and stuff with cool food, liquid death, and not just popcorn and Diet Coke. And so when you walk up to this place, you hear fun music. Nobody's waiting for you at the door in a sport coat. We're chilling. We're watching golf on the TV. I've got my dog here, and every location is going to be like that. Hey, what's up? How's it going? So they come in and they immediately feel like, hey, this is different. This is a special place to be. But my employees feel that way. They like being here. We have fun. I'm not naive. It's a job, but they like being here. We enjoy each other's company. We have a good time. They're valued. They make good money. They have opportunities for promotion. I promote everybody from within. And so it's a special place to work and to be. The fifth is the details matter. I am very, very detail oriented and have high expectations for every aspect of our business, whether there's a piece of garbage out on the car lot or a window that didn't get sprayed down quite right, or just every little detail, our brand, our logo, our merch, everything, the details matter. And then the last one, you'll laugh. I know you'll see this one after having known me for only an hour, but it's intensity. We are intense around here. We get crap done. We work hard. We push people. We push each other. Intensity in a respectful way, but we get after it. And the personalities that like it here like to compete. They like to win. They like to grow. And we've got men, women, older, younger, different backgrounds and faiths and beliefs. And I mean, we're as diverse as a Utah company can be, kind of, right? But I think, everybody here is a go-getter. Some are louder and some are quieter, but everybody here has a burning fire inside of them to do something cool and special. And so that's our business, and everything else is built on top of that. So long answer, short question, but that's EV Auto.
Brother, I had to tell you, I am incredibly impressed with you and the organization that you've built, and I'm excited to hear and see your evolution, because I think you're obviously onto something. This is very different. And again, if you want the things that the average person doesn't have, you've got to be willing to do the things the average person isn't willing to do. Legally, ethically, morally speaking, of course. You know what I mean? But again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for you contributing all of this information. Before I tap out, is there anything you'd like to leave the audience? Anything you'd like to have as your closing, statement or say to us?
Man, if you're a dealer watching this, I'd love to hear from you. I have so much. I mean, I feel like I have a good grasp on like my culture and the team I want to build. I feel like I'm still making mistakes and learning so much in the car industry and stuff. So I want to make sure that when people listen to this, they know that I'm excited and optimistic, not arrogant or cocky or anything like that. It's just excitement, and that I'm still really interested in meeting mentors and other dealers that can teach me stuff, because there's room for lots of winners in this market. There's room for lots of winners in the EV space, and I've had a hard time connecting with others because I don't fit the mold, so to speak. But yeah, man, I just am grateful and excited and looking to meet other people that can teach me and network with. And so since that's who your audience is, I'd love to do that. And you can, find me on social media. It's just EV Auto Alex. My email is just alex@EVAuto. So I would love to connect with anybody, listening to this for whatever reason. And if I can help you, if there's somebody out there that has questions about this business or whatever, same contact information, I'd love to see if there's anything I can do to return the favor. So,
well, Alex, again, thank you so much for being part of the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast. We appreciate you and look forward to seeing all your success.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. Nice to meet you, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you liked it, you're gonna love Bradley On Demand. Bradley On Demand is the most advanced virtual training, tracking, testing, and certification platform. What does that mean? It's an online university. And if you like this information here, we have hundreds and hundreds of advanced videos, step by step, on how to help you sell more cars more often and more profitably. So sign up now.